Hi, this is the course overview for EDU 595, Developing Character and Ethics for Concordia University Irvine for the summer 2020 term. And my name is Denise Estrella, and I will be your instructor for this term. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of our course and the features of our course. And then each week there will be a course overview that have specific details about the expectation for that week. And I'm starting here on the Meet Your Instructor page so that you can see my contact information, my phone number, and my email address. And as well, you can see a little bit of information about myself. I have a background in public education. I've been doing that for about 20 years. A little unusually, I have a broad experience of positions. I've worked in almost every aspect of programs and school sites, including comprehensive, elementary, and middle high school level instructional programs. I've been an alternative high school principal. I've managed career technical education programs, special education programs. I've done a lot of assessment as well as adult education and early childhood education. Um, I took a break from public education to work for WestEd, which is a nonprofit organization that does educational research. I've been a research associate there for 2 years. And I have a background in Lutheran colleges. I did my undergraduate degree at St. Olaf College in Minnesota. So that's enough about me, a little bit about my background. I'm going to now walk you through our syllabus and your assignments. So I first want to call your attention to our course syllabus, which is accessed through the link on the left. The information in the syllabus is mostly represented in the course shell. So there are a few pieces of information that are in the syllabus that don't appear anywhere else, but for the most part, this syllabus is here for your reference. So all you really need to do at the beginning of the course is skim it briefly and know that there are just a few pieces of information that you won't find in other places. So rather than read to you, I'm just going to walk you through the document. And so I'll just point out here that the information for week 1 is listed and it's also color coded. So you'll see the learning outcomes, you'll see the topics, you'll see your tasks, which are reading and videos, the topics for the discussion board, and you'll see that there's no weekly assignment. That corresponds to what you have in your week 1 tab. All that same information is here. Here are the topics and the learning outcomes, the links for the reading or the tasks that you do, as well as the videos to watch, the Christian message, and then the links for the discussion board. And each week you'll find the information summarized in the dark gray box here. So the same information is represented here in the syllabus as well as in the course shell. I just want to point out that I mentioned there's a few pieces of information that are not listed in the course shell. I'm just scrolling down to the bottom, so close your eyes if you get a little motion sick. For example, here are the percentages used to determine the letter grades at the end of the course. And so this scale is not found anywhere in the course shell. So that and a few other policies are listed in the syllabus, but otherwise, this is a reference tool. I also want to point out the textbook for this class, which is the publication manual for the APA, American Psychological Association. This is the expected style of writing for this graduate program, and you do not have to purchase this book, but I do recommend that you do. I used it all through my graduate programs. I still have my blue book, and I have a copy in my office, and I have a copy at home, and I also have a quick guide that travels around either in my car or my briefcase. It's a great way to look up information, but you do not have to buy it. You can access this information online. Um, Enough about that. A few highlights of our course shell. Here are the announcements. When you log into the course, this is where you will land. Here is a list of our schedule, and I want to apologize for getting ahead of myself. I'm not used to having a week off between spring and summer. This is the first year that they've given us a year off, and it took me by surprise. I think my awareness of what day of the week it is a little bit off due to the shelter-in-place order in California. But I've updated all the dates in the course, and so here is an updated summer 2020 schedule. So you see the span of dates for the entire course, and then just note that, as usual, week 8 ends on a Friday. So our last day of the course will be the 3rd of July, and that's a Friday. I also list other announcements here, and I do my best to update them regularly. I'll post a notification when your grades have been updated. That means I've graded your assignments for the previous week and that your grades are up to date. I also do my best to keep up with sharing information that comes from the university. You probably get most of that information through email, but I like to post it as an announcement as well. There are 5 assignments for this course that you will submit, and each of them is listed under the assignments, actually the Submit Assignments tab on the left. These links have been updated since I accidentally released the course a week early, so you don't have to worry about guessing about the due date. The due dates are listed here in red, and they're always due by a minute before midnight. To get a description of each assignment, you'll click on the Submit Assignment link, and then you can click here to get the directions for the assignment. And during the weekly overview, I'll speak a little bit to each assignment. I won't take the time to do that now. But under the assignment description, you'll get the directions. You'll also have a rubric so that you know exactly what you need to do to get full credit. I find that those students who take the time to review the rubric tend to get full credit on the first attempt. It's really provided for you so that you can know exactly what's expected for you, so do please utilize the rubric when you're doing your work. To submit, you can, if you wanted to, you could compose in this window. Don't recommend that. Instead, I recommend that you do your assignment in another document and then you upload it. You simply browse your computer, attach the file. If you have any comments to add, you can put them right here. It's not required, but some people do. And then you'll press submit. So just looking over the Submit Assignments page, just please note and plan accordingly. There is a group assignment where you will be assigned a group that will probably happen at the beginning of the second week. That gives me a little time to make sure that everybody who is enrolled in the course has shown up. And please don't request to be in a group with a partner or a group of people. We specifically assign those ourselves so that we push you a little bit to work outside your comfort zone. Let's talk a little bit about the discussion board. So I first want to call your attention to the discussion board criteria and grading rubric. This discusses discussion etiquette and the requirements for participation. You'll need to make an initial post for each discussion board topic by Thursday of each week, unless it's noted otherwise. And then by the end of the week, so that's, minute before midnight on Sunday, you'll need to respond to at least 2 of your classmates with some substance. And the discussion criteria you'll see are down here. And I find that students sometimes forget to do the second part and therefore miss receiving full credit. So remember your initial post, and then by the end of the week, 2 substantial responses to peers. And you'll want to do that for each discussion board topic. And then as you go through here, you'll see that the different topics are listed. During week 1, there are 2 discussion board topics. During week 2, there is just 1. So the amount that you will be contributing to the discussion board will vary by week. We have a Blackboard Collaborate room. This is an asynchronous course, so we don't have any scheduled times to meet. However, if you do want to meet with me, I'm happy to do it either just by telephone, or we can do it through this Collaborate classroom. To join, you simply click on the button. That's really the extent that we will use this Blackboard Collaborate room, but it does have a video feature, and because we are sheltering in place and working remotely, in addition to our regular asynchronous format, it's sometimes nice to have a camera and video. So open to either one. Just wanted to call your attention to that feature. There will also be information updated, this link for groups. As I mentioned earlier, you will be assigned to a group for one of the assignments, and this doesn't tell you a whole lot, but you'll be able to access your group information here. There'll be a discussion board where you can participate in your discourse, and we ask that you do that through this format so that I can monitor your participation and your discussion. So that will be set up at a later date, and I will make an announcement when that is ready. There is a section on the left tab where you will be able to monitor your progress in the course. Obviously, this doesn't have any information in it because I am not a student in the course, and also because the course has not started yet. But you will be able to see your grades on each of the tasks, either discussion board or the assignments, and I encourage you to monitor that at least once a week. And then finally, if you don't already know, there is a feature for sending email. This is the way that you can contact your classmates if you do not already have their email address. There is a standard convention for email addresses. It's usually your first name, period, last name, at, and then you will have an Eagles account. Mine is at cui.edu. But if you want to email anyone, you can either email us all, but this will include people outside of our course, including professors who support us in the program. You can email groups, student users, all the instructors. In that case, it's just me. Or you can select a single person. Your options might be slightly different. But this is the way that you can email people if you need to find their email addresses. Okay, just a few more topics to cover. I just want to make sure you're aware under resources that you have access to your program information here, where you have course descriptions, required textbooks, and so forth. I do want to pass on some advice that I received early in my graduate career, and that is anytime you take a course, it's probably a good idea for you to have a copy or at least saved information of your program and your syllabi, because in our profession, We quite often have our transcripts analyzed either for um, credit by our school districts on the pay scale or sometimes by other graduate programs who need to determine your eligibility to either waive a class or to um, have a credential in another state. It's always a good idea to have a copy of your syllabus because sometimes when your transcript is analyzed and they want to know what specifically you covered, they will ask for that syllabus. So if you make a copy of your program information and your course syllabus and keep it in a file, either electronic or paper, it will save you a lot of time down the road if you have to provide the information. I've been in the position where I've had to go back and request those documents because they've been removed from online sources, and it's taken quite a bit of time. So just a little bit of advice in that regard. You also have a copy of your capstone handbook located here. I spoke briefly about APA resources when I talked about the textbooks for this course. I want to call your attention to this section, APA resources. Um, Concordia provides you with a writing template for your papers. Um, this way, you do not have to spend time looking up the expectations for formatting and creating your own. Simply download this template and fill in your information. Um, I had to do this at the beginning of my graduate course, and I used it all the way through, all 6 years. Um, Here, one is simply provided for you. So save yourself the time and be aware that this template is here for you. Concordia also puts together APA Basics. This is a sort of a cheat sheet that tells you the information everywhere that you will use it. This way you do not have to buy the blue style guide or the quick guide. But this is really at a basic level. So you can use this, but if you want to refer to more advanced APA style, you'll want to access a blue book or a quick guide. But this is very useful, and they do this as a cost-saving measure and also for convenience for you. I also mentioned that you can find the information online if you don't want to purchase the style guide book. This resource is Purdue OWL. They're obviously outside our own university, but they do such a nice job. There's really no reason for us to replicate it. You can access all the information you need right here. You can find really advanced user information about APA style. As I mentioned, there's also some videos. The information is available in Spanish and so forth. So no need to purchase the guide if you do not wish to, because you have the basics from Concordia and you also have a link to Purdue OWL. I want to call your attention to the library resources that are available to you. One of the great benefits for me in teaching for Concordia is that I have access to their library. You should really never have to pay to get an article. If you can't find it through our own library, be sure that you talk with a librarian because quite often they are able to get it for you if they don't own the rights to a journal or a title. This course is not about research, but I do want to make sure that you're aware of your library resources and also the Writing Center. I find that students who utilize the Writing Center have better grades, and if especially you are out of a graduate program for quite a bit of time, or if it's been a while since maybe you were in college, this is a great resource for you to strengthen your writing skills. Obviously, we're not doing in-person consultations because of the shelter-in-place orders, but most of our students anyway, since you're online, are able to email a submission. You can either schedule an appointment upload your paper. I find that students who access this have better grades from the very beginning. So if you are one of those graduate students who is absolutely focused on getting every point, you'll want to use this resource. If you work ahead of your deadline and are able to work with the writing studio and get feedback before your submission deadline, you are more likely to get a higher grade in your writing um, sections of your rubric. Also, the sooner you master the APA writing style, the higher your grades will be throughout your program. So, if writing isn't your strength, I strongly encourage you to access this resource. Okay, so I'm going to take us back to the announcement page. And I'll just remind you, if I didn't say it already, I will try to say it every week, but please contact me if you have questions. The easiest and fastest way to get a hold of me is by sending me a text. That works really well if it's a quick, easy question, like a yes or no or a clarification, and especially if you need a speedy response. If you do text me, could you please identify yourself, at least in your first message, because I won't have your contact information or really know who you are until you identify yourself, at least for the first time. And the other way to reach me pretty efficiently is by email. I check email pretty regularly throughout the day, so I can usually respond pretty quickly, not as quite as quickly as text, but usually if it requires a longer response, I prefer to type rather than text a longer response. But you're always welcome to call as well. The hours for reaching me are generally after 6 p.m. in the evening. I do work a full-time job during the day, so I'm really not available until the evenings, but between 6 and 9 or 9:30 is generally best if you want to call me in the evenings. And then on the weekends, you're welcome to call me. Please wait until after 10 in the morning. And again, up until 9 in the evening is just fine. So, text or email at any time. And if you need to call, evenings and weekends are best. So, with that said, I'm looking forward to working with you this term. And please contact me if you have any questions.